Welcome, everyone, to episode 34. Yeah, 34 of the Cosmere Reads. How's everyone doing tonight? How are you guys?
Doing
How you
good.
feeling?
Cannot
What's up?
complain, man.
How we doing?
Yeah, things are good. Announcements. I don't have any. Do you guys have anything good for the cause? I got nothing this week as far as announcements goes. Let me check just to make sure. I should do
the
this before we
the
start.
Lions and the Rams are playing right now. Kind of interested in that game because Lions haven't been in a playoff game since 93 or 94, something like that. Yeah. Well,
Okay.
I don't know if that stat's right, but it's something like that.
Something like that.
It's been a while. I was happy to see the Cowboys lose. Always happy to see them lose.
Oh, they lost. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
Like,
Yeah, I haven't really cracked football.
Like at the fourth quarter, and then I think the last score was like 48-32. So they tried to come back, but they were a little too late. But,
Oh wow.
Yeah. I guess here's an announcement because I know nothing about sports ball right now. I know it's the playoffs. I have not watched any of it.
yeah, I'm trying to keep up with it.
So we did do a giveaway on the Twitters or the Xers or whatever you call it these days.
Bump that X noise. No, Twitter.
Well, Sarah Angarx. Anyway, she won.
Congratulations,
Sarah.
A hardcover
Nice.
copy of the Cosmere book of their choice.
Hey.
They chose one you have not read yet and will not read for quite some time.
Oh, okay, but it is in
About
our
4 years.
series.
It's not Mistborn, but it is in the Cosmere. Yes.
I mean, I consider anything Cosmere our series.
Sure. Yeah.
Until you correct me, I'm going to continue to say that.
Yeah. It's the title of the book is Yumi and the Nightmare Painter. We'll get to that one later.
Okay. Gotcha.
It's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
It's an interesting book. But yeah. So sent it off to her a couple days ago. So on
Very
its
nice.
way. Other than that, yeah. Video games, other podcast stuff, the other one, and reading lots and lots of Brandon Sanderson. Because not only am I reading Hero of Ages right now, the Will Reads is also reading Stormlight and reading Wheel of Time. So I'm reading 2 Cosmere books at once and try not to get confused. So if I get confused, I'm sorry.
We'll keep it straight.
How dare you not keep everything perfectly straight in your head at all times? By the way, I feel terrible every time I can't catch up with you guys for Sea of Thieves. I didn't realize how much I work until you guys like hit me up. You're like, "Hey, you want to join me for Sea of Thieves?" And I'm like, "I'm working."
No.
Wait. One time it was date night though. I will.
Yeah.
That one. By the way, Sweetness says hello to everybody. By the way,
Okay.
Wifey says
Hi.
Yeah. But I wasn't able to make it that one time because of date night. But otherwise, I was like, man, I really need to like lay off this work thing. So
It makes you feel better.
Vacation next week.
Well, that's what you deserve, right?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
It makes you feel better. It makes me feel like it's inspired me to work harder. So
I'm not trying. No. What I do is not sustainable. No. Now I had a major project I was working on towards the end of the year. I did not get to enjoy New Year's Eve. I did not get to enjoy Christmas. So I feel like we definitely deserve this week off. Well, obviously it's like toasting. I'm sitting there like decommissioning jobs and stuff on the computer. So we're definitely looking forward to a little bit of a break. And then the wife got promoted and now she's like working like doubly hard too. So we're excited. Wow. Taking some breaks here. So
yeah. People often ask me like what I'm reading. I'm usually reading one book for myself and at least 1 or 2 books for my kids, and then at least 3 books for my podcast. So like at any given time, I'm reading like 6 books at once.
Oh wow. No kidding.
It's really hard to keep them together. Actually, they're so different. I'm really good about actually keeping them apart. But really high, like really, really focused on the fantasy stuff. My son, we're doing Percy Jackson, listening to that on the way to school. And then we're also reading like hardcover copy. Let Me Make It Series of Unfortunate Events.
Yeah, that's a good series.
Just finished Lion, the Witch, and Wardrobe with my daughter.
Didn't they just put out a new Percy Jackson series on Disney Plus?
They did. It's actually pretty good.
It had to be better than the last one. The last one was garbage because my son read the Percy Jackson series, And when that movie came out,
Yeah.
he was like, "Oh no," he would walk away slowly.
Seriously, I've been enjoying it. I think it's pretty good. I think it's done well.
Mm-hmm.
I think so. I've been keeping up and watching it. I've been good.
It was a young adult series.
Yeah.
But don't treat the series like it's like, puffery or something. It's like
No, it has dark moments. Yeah.
So
I mean, like the books are like it reminds me a lot of like Harry Potter, like where the first book's completely appropriate to read to a young kid,
and that's the way it's supposed to work. Yeah.
But like the actual visual media of it is not appropriate for super young kids. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, the monsters are a little scary for like a 5-year-old.
Okay.
In my opinion, at least, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But do you take notes when you're reading? Maybe not with your kids, but when you're reading on your own, do you like take notes and scribble in the book? Yeah.
I used to until I found websites that have all the cliff notes to everything, but they have spoilers too.
That's what I do. Yeah.
I started using the websites, but I don't recommend you guys do that because they have spoilers.
So there are some websites. Now I haven't used it for this series, but I'm going to admit that I used it for Wheel of Time.
Yeah.
Well, I call it Wheel of Time, whatever. But I know other people call it different things. Anyway, I use that because sometimes it started introducing so many characters, and I was like, oh, wait a minute. That name's so familiar. And it was so important for me to be able to just keep it all together.
Yeah, there's actually for Wheel of Time, there's an app you can download, and you can tell it like what book and chapter you're on, and it will like you look up characters, and because you tell it what book and chapter you're on, it will not give you spoilers past the part.
Yeah, one of the wikis that I was in did the same thing. It would just tell you everything up until the chapter you were on. Yeah, which I appreciated.
Yeah.
Now I haven't done anything like that for the series that we're reading because I haven't really researched. I'm sure there's something out there. I just haven't looked into it.
The problem with the Cosmeres is it's not linear. Like we're doing it this way. This is not necessarily like the way to do it. I mean, it's the way I think is the best. But you can start anywhere in the Cosmere.
I mean, well, if they're different, you've already kind of given away the spoiler of the fact they're different worlds. Yeah. I mean, so that means that there's not really complete, spoiler territory. We start jumping from like planet to planet, right?
Eventually.
So. Yeah, so so I feel like it probably wouldn't be too big a spoiler, but again, I'm not going to take that risk.
Sure. Yeah. No. Anyways, you guys ready to talk about chapter 5?
Yeah.
All right. I'll start out with the epigraph. Zul, if you're listening, I said it right this time. Epigraph.
Epigraph. That's
right. This is the epitome of a good episode. So each time.
Man, every week you gotta just hit that, and I'm like, it's like nails on a chalkboard to me right
now. Each time Rashik tried to fix things, he made them worse. He changed the world's plants to make them able to survive the new harsh environment. Yet that change left the plants less nutrients to mankind. Indeed, the falling ash would make men sick, causing them to cough, like those who spent too long mining beneath the earth. As so, Rashik changed mankind itself as well, altering them so they could survive. Thoughts?
Yeah, changing men so that way they could survive. I was like, okay, that's not a normal man, quote unquote, that we're thinking of. I was like, he changed some other man into a creature type. And so I was like, is it a Khandra that he created out of that? Is it a Koloss he created or something else? That's what I feel like. Again, I'm sure there's, probably a duh moment, it comes later where it's like, oh no, you just changed a butterfly into a freaking like rabbit or something. I don't know, whatever he comes up with. So.
We learned from the last chapters that Rashik was so obsessed with killing the mist that he actually screwed over all of mankind by moving the planet around. And then we're on to the next chapter where he's still trying to put band-aids on everything. It's like
right, because he also messed with the plants and stuff. So he made the plants like more hardy, but now they're like not green.
Right. So they just enough nutrients to provide. But
right.
Yeah. There's no such thing as green plants in this world. Everything's kind of just.
And then there's the ash. He created the ash basically, so that way it would
block the sun.
Block the sun a little bit, so you kind of cool off a little, right? But that has its own
Yep.
ramifications. So
interesting times.
yeah, it's like when science dudes don't know how to science. I mean,
Yeah.
well, dudes who don't know how to science try to science, and they're like, they don't understand the physics and the astrophysics that go along with that. They're like, you just move planets, and it's like, well, orbits don't work like that. Oh shoot!
Have you seen the "It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia" episode where I think it's Mac, and he's trying to prove that evolution doesn't exist?
Yeah, the court case one. And that thing is some kind of funny. By the way, I've seen every episode of that show so many times because it's like one of my favorites of all time. Yeah, where they're trying to prove and disprove each other with the court case.
Yeah.
They just...
He starts like Aristotle because Aristotle thought all this, but he thought the world was flat. I mean, he was a bitch.
That's right. That's right. Yes. Oh, Mac. Good old Mac.
Anyways. So we start the actual real chapter off with Ellen. He at this point he has the mental control over the Koloss army, and they're kind of standing over the Steel Inquisitor's body. Ellen's kind of disgusted by it, and Vince is kind of like, "This is a Tuesday. Let's get to work on this thing.
Autopsy time."
Yeah, but they start talking about this Steel Inquisitor was different than the other ones they had, encountered before. It moved too fast, and Vince says that, and Ellen's kind of like, I saw the corner of my eye, but maybe they're just really fast.
Yeah, and he said maybe it's because it was burning pewter, I think is what he said, right?
Or duralum. Yeah, maybe they.
Duralum.
He said maybe because of that. And they're like, and Vince's like, no, it was too fast for that. Like, there's something else going on here. And sure enough, we get more spikes.
More spikes.
A lot of spikes.
A lot of spikes.
I don't get this whole spikes through the shoulder. I mean, they already got spikes in the rib cage and spikes like all kinds of different places. And now they got spikes on spikes on spikes. And I'm like, oh, okay. I don't understand. I guess I'm trying to understand. Does a spike come into the shoulder like from the side?
That's what I was wondering.
Yeah, I've never seen art of like the
pointing out the back.
I've never seen art of these Inquisitors. Like I've seen ones with the eyes. I've never seen one like flayed open. Where he shot to the heart. But he's too late. He gives love. But okay.
Yeah, we knew you were going with it.
I've had so much wine to drink tonight. Oh, guys. So this dates back to the March chapter with the Terracemen as well, because they start immediately talking about maybe it was ferrochemical or ferrochemical powers.
Yeah, they don't know what it is. Well, they don't know what this new, what do you call it? Hemalurgy. Thank you. They don't know about that, but they're starting to already kind of get a hint that there's something else there, which I found interesting that they're already picking up on it. I was like, good for y'all. Y'all like are kind of on the fringes of getting that kind of figured out. So good.
Sure.
Good on them.
Okay. And it's pewter as well. That's another thing. The one in the heart, the big one that it's pewter. Where the rest of them, they never had a pewter spike before. Another thing that Vin mentions is that the Steel Inquisitor had been trying to stab Ellen with spikes, which she found interesting, but Ellen kind of brushes it off, like, maybe he just didn't have time to go for his axes and knives. But didn't know if you guys had thoughts about that.
I felt like it was probably part of the hemalurgy thing.
Okay.
Like there's something on the spike, or it, once it touches your skin or pierces your skin or gets blood on it, you can do something else with the spike, or maybe it has a much more, or maybe there's something else on the spike that came from one of the other processes, when they would torture and kill, these terroristmen. I thought maybe it's something about that, but that's all I really kind of had in my head. I didn't really have any really formulated theories beyond, the ethereal.
The only thing I could think is, they're just trying to kill him, because I thought, like, to make the Inquisitor, you had to have another body present, right? And like, there's a process for it.
Yeah.
I don't know why they would want to stab him with a spike other than just to kill him, but I honestly hadn't thought about it until you asked. So
I'm curious.
Raffo.
Of course, it's all Raffo.
Tell me, Alan.
Yeah, right. I wish one time you would just say that, and Alan was like, "Okay, here's the deal."
Well, here's what's going on. Okay.
He just tells you spoilers and
Book's over.
That's right. Book's over.
Just gonna tell you
Podcast ended. There you go.
Nope. I don't know you can tell if you're on the right way. I'll just kind of just nod my head or shake my head and
Or say, sure.
That's all he
Sure.
says. Is sure. I mean,
Sure. You
It's-
idiot.
Sure.
As he chuckles behind his hand, he's like, these idiots.
So they leave the Inquisitor's body. They head back to the village, and they find Fatrin. And he's like, "Yo, we need some more stuff. We gotta do. We gotta get to that building over there." He's like, "The Ministry building?" They're like, "Yeah. Oh, we need to go in there." They're like, "Why? We already ransacked the whole place. Like, there's nothing in there. We've already searched it. Like, why do you go in there?" It's like, it's a little side mission we're doing. It's a side quest we got going on.
Right.
And
this is a good storytelling technique that unfolds. And again, you can just see that Sanderson's getting better and better.
Mm-hmm.
So he gives you a little bit of information. You don't understand why. And then he slowly unfolds that there's this other stuff that happened that you weren't aware of.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Like even the whole unfolding of the story about why Vin and Ellen aren't together.
Right.
In that moment at the beginning of this battle.
Sure.
He slowly unfolds it. And
Right.
he slowly unfolds exactly why it was important to go into this ministry building. Because then you find out this is actually the third time that they're going into the building.
And the actual whole reason why they're there has nothing to do with saving these people.
It's the whole reason they're there. So it's like it's all these like breadcrumbs. And he does a great job of just making you just want to know. It's like you're so curious. It's like what happened? Yeah, good job on him though.
It's good.
It's good
writing.
It's
interesting. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just saying it's just good writing.
Yeah.
I like the fact it keeps you intrigued, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's always a good thing.
I mean, because at the beginning of the book, you just think that Ellen's here to be a good ruler. Not that he's not, but I think. The old Ellen, where the people are first, I think he sees the bigger picture now, being a Mistborn for a year. And the reason why they're there is not because they're trying to save every obscure town that the Colossus are about to attack. It's because the last map said that there's another location here.
Right.
And that's why they're here. Like, it just so happens that a Colossus was, and of course, Ellen's going to help save them. Right. But that's not the reason why you're there.
Right.
At all. It's for this. So they get in there, and it's obviously been ransacked, and Ellen's just basically like, "Yeah, you guys don't know where to look." And they find the metal plate, pull it back and find the cavern, and Fatrin's just like, "Holy crap, that's a lot of food."
Yeah,
they got food for days.
But I mean, of course, they've seen what happened when they went into the Lord Ruler's palace, and they found the chamber there,
right?
Which of course was the Well of Ascension. But they know now it's like, okay, we got to look beyond what you think you've already searched. It's like different levels of searching now.
Exactly what I was going to say. It's like the levels that like Fatrin and the Ska think about, just straight survival. And then there's like the Vin, Ellen's, Mistborn, Inquisitor, Lord Ruler level, mass destruction.
Yeah.
Level.
Yep. And they find another steel plate, on there with a bunch. And each one of these has had a different metal on there. This one's another one they knew. Another, they talk about other storage places they had found, and how they had different metals. They had different, like, I guess, specialties. Like some was full of wood.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they talked about it in the next point of view, a couple chapters later, but they talk about this at some point. How like each storage cache had a different set purpose, like clear cut for like end of world type scenario.
I didn't know that part. So
yeah, I didn't either.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they talk about it at some point.
Rapho.
Rapho. I thought they talked about this book, maybe not, but they did talk about the different metals, and they found malatium here.
Right.
Which is the 11th metal, which is really nothing. Like, and Lord Ruler knew about it the entire time.
Yeah.
and it wasn't going to kill him.
This is the amazing metal that Kelsier just thought was going to be like the savior metal, and it's like you come to find out basically it's like a puppet popping out of a freaking like box. You're like, oh, hey, look at me! It's like, okay, great, but what do? You don't
has
do
no
anything,
good use at all.
No. It's like you're entertaining, I guess. But what do you do? Oh, that's right. Not a damn thing.
Pretty much.
I mean, I'm sad he died for it, thinking that was like, going to be like, the thing that was going to like topple the kingdom and everything. So, yeah, that sucks for him,
Yeah.
Mr. died by a backhand slap.
Yep. And they're still trying to figure out if one of these storage places might have the ATM stash. I mean, that's what they're thinking of. And they also find on there that it talks about how using emotional allomancy that can control the conjure on the Koloss, which they already knew this. They did learn now that actually multiple people can push it once and have the same effect, which that's a new bit of information that they didn't know before.
Right. We get a whole bunch of Koloss control information in this chapter. So like they don't like automatically regain their capability to I don't know, operate independently while like the person who's controlling them sleeps or whatever. They're just controlled, and that's just all there is to it. The only thing that can knock them out of that control is if something else more powerful comes in, or if there's too much. I think they said something about distance or something like that.
Right.
I can't remember.
Yeah.
If there's like too much distance between that Koloss and that person who's controlling them or something like that. Oh, and of course, death.
Right.
Yeah, that'll do it.
And the last part of this inscription is probably the most important part. Is they find the map to the last, what they think is the last cache, because they've already marked 1 through 5, and this is 4 or 5.
Right.
And the last one would be in Fadric City, which was what's his name? Set.
And none of this part makes any logical sense to me, by the way.
Okay.
Wait a minute. Now it makes sense to me. Oh my gosh, I just had a moment. Oh, duh.
Like, all right, chapter 6 now.
So I wrote a note, and I was like, none of this makes sense to me. I was like, if Set knew that he was like, sitting on the place where like all the, this like stockpile stuff is, why did he come to Luthadel if he's got like, a stock? Because he didn't know it was there, because it was hidden.
Yeah.
Ignore me. Keep on moving. Sorry,
but at this point, Set's not there anymore, and his entire kingdom and the city is, rumors are, it's controlled by an obligator and heavily fortified. So they're going to have to figure out how to get there and do all that. And then Vin finds at the very end a little postscript at the bottom of the plate that says, write these things in metal because anything we speak or write can be changed and altered. Or can be heard. Anything we speak and write.
The speak part, that part freaks you out, right?
Anything you speak and write can be heard. Only your thoughts are safe.
So here it is all this time, the concept of something being written down and being manipulated by an entity, it's like, it's weird. We're like kind of getting our head wrapped around that. But now anything you speak, we have to assume Ruin is like hearing it and also able to basically would
react on
it. Basically like taint your minds, taint the way that you have heard what you've heard. So now it's like you can't even talk, and so this is the reason why this whole time I've been reading these books, I've been like, this Lord Ruler thing doesn't make any sense to me. I was like, if he had, this whole crazy important responsibility, why wouldn't he just go ahead and just be like, hey, so here's the deal. I mean, just tell people, right? But
you can't.
And then we finally figure out that that's the deal. He can't just tell people it's like if I went up to Will and I was like, "Hey, Will, guess what, man? Look,
Yeah,
red ain't the color you think it is, my guy. It's actually pink. So you're looking a little feminine all day long when you're walking around, but you can't see it because with your own eyes, and you'd be like, get the fuck out of here." and then later on, you're like, oh, but wait a minute. Alonda wasn't trying to say that. It's just the way that it's getting interpreted by my ears because there's this other force out here kind of manipulating all the things. That fucked with my head when I heard that. Because, the writing thing already messed with me when it's like, what he wrote. And he was like, wait a minute. It did not look like that when I wrote it down. Mm-hmm. It changed. And he didn't. It's been in his, Sage's possession the whole time. Then, you find out, well, yeah, you can manipulate the writing as you're like,
right,
writing it down or whatever. So, yeah, exactly. Eye-opening moment. Go ahead, Will.
Is Alonda right? Like, is that what's happening? Because, like, I don't think
you can manipulate what you hear. You can manipulate what you write. 100%.
Right.
Okay.
He can hear what you.
He can hear what you can say. Yes, he can hear what you say. He can see what you write as long as it's not steel. Well, maybe I'll see that too. You just can't manipulate that.
I feel like this is like the global version of the game of telephone, though, where I don't really know if what you're being told somewhere else.
Well, so the Lord Ruler knew this, and go back to like all of the things that the Lord Ruler was doing. At the end of the day, everything the Lord Ruler was doing was trying to prevent Ruin from getting free.
Yeah.
He couldn't tell anyone his plans because then Ruin would know his plans, which means everything he did, he had to do in complete secrecy.
Right.
And disconnect pretty much from everyone. I mean, that's what he had to do. And then he was,
it's a perfect labeled time for NordVPN plug.
Yeah.
Brought to you by NordVPN. Boom! Got him.
I don't think we're in a cycle for that right now. But if we were, I would definitely do it right now.
Come on, NordVPN.
It's a freebie.
Get that tie in. Come on.
Yeah, I don't know. I can double check, but I haven't got a new one from them in a while. Oh no, not right now. But every few weeks.
That's all right.
Every few weeks, about once every few months, every other month or so. So just not the right cycle for it. Anyway, so
sorry.
Yeah, you're fine. So yeah, the Lord Ruler. I think at the end of the day, he didn't care about anything else but this mission. So like everything else is going on, people saying, he was a tyrant and did all this stuff and created this whole system. I don't know if he necessarily created the system or if he just got a couple of his cronies and left them in charge and didn't care what they did. Like he made them noblemen thousands of years ago, his friends noblemen, made the Conjure, made the Koloss, and was like, all right, now I'm just going to shut up and not talk to any of you guys. You just handle this. I'll only get involved if you really start screwing something up, but do whatever you want.
Which would explain why the obligators feel like they're like, the top shit. But really, I mean, I feel like obligators are like, whatever, who cares? Yeah. I mean, I don't find them to be very, I don't know, anything that I would have any intimidation around, I guess. So
scary bureaucracy.
Scary bureaucracy is a good phrase for that. Yeah, but I mean, they don't really, whatever,
Clearly, you've never had to go through the file room in the Library of Congress.
Dude, I actually almost got a job at the Library of Congress, man, years ago. And all the IT officers are actually underneath the Library of Congress. So basically, I would have never seen sunlight at all because I'd be working in the basement. I mean, it's a nice basement. It's like all lit and everything, but
that's in DC, right?
Yeah.
Everything is underground in DC.
Yeah, everything is underground there. I mean, it's like a labyrinthian kind of thing going on. And I was like, man, I don't know if I can get behind this.
In America, there's just a lot of underground complexes. There just is. There's a whole entire underground cities in New York, like old abandoned subway stations and weird stuff down there. And then
Seattle has the same thing.
Don't get me started on Denver Airport.
Go on. Let's hear about Denver Airport.
There's a whole bunch of stuff
No,
we'll talk about that on Sea of Thieves later.
Yeah, Denver Airport. I think we might get canceled if I start talking about what's underneath here.
Yeah, Denver Airport though, and of course, when it was first open, people hated the look of that thing. They were like,
It's what's underneath. It's what's underneath Denver Airport.
So wait, do you think Ruin, like when you know the pages, the words were getting ripped off, and they were like, where the hell did it go? Do you think Ruin was behind that? You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm. Good question.
I think that Ruin is behind anything that is inexplicable when it comes to written language or anything like that. I mean, it just doesn't because why would something in your possession all of a sudden like disappear?
Yeah. I just put that together. I was kind of like, because you thought about it way deeper than I did. I'm thinking about Ruin as this. Honestly, I was thinking about Ruin as like a metaphor for negativity and mental illness. Like you speak something into existence. If you talk about something bad that's going to happen,
right,
it's going to happen. But I like what you guys are, or what Alando, what you were saying, because I just didn't think about it that deeply. I think because you have more experience in like fantasy and stuff like that. But
yeah, I do have a little bit more. You're right about that, because I've read some things not like this, but you get to the point where when you start reading fantasy, you start really getting used to the idea of throwing all rules out the window. And it's hard to do that when you first read like your first series of books or something.
Yeah.
You know, you think that the constructs of the world around you apply in what you're reading.
Right.
But eventually you start realizing that you can never assume that the world you live in, that those dynamics apply in what you're reading.
Yeah,
until you're explicitly told that they do apply, right?
Yeah, and that's what makes this writing so awesome. Is that they can take themselves, remove themselves from the world, because Sanderson lives in the same world we do, right?
Right.
Yeah, it's just the creativity is.
Well, in Utah, it's slightly different world than us, but
yeah. I mean, but wait, but the fact that these guys, and I'm just talking about authors in general, let's just go ahead and give them all the kudos that they can do that not one time and create a world, numerous times and create numerous universes and worlds, and many of them not even be connected or interrelated in any way, shape, or form is so impressive. And that's the reason why I have the craziest respect for these people, you know.
Yeah. How many books did Isaac Asimov write?
Yeah, too many. Because I've heard that some of his stuff is great, and then some of his stuff is like really out there. I mean, what Scientology? Oh my gosh, the guy
he wrote over 500 books in his lifetime.
Who wrote the Scientology?
L. Ron Hubbard.
L. Ron Hubbard. He wrote some of the craziest stuff, and it's like some stuff is like, you know, he just built worlds over here. A lot of his stuff was not well received just because his writing was just kind of like garbage.
Right.
But I mean, he loved to write.
Right.
Unfortunately, there's like people who've now built a religion out of it. Yeah. Sorry, society. But I mean, you have to give him credit though for what he did and his ability to just think up some weird, crazy universe.
Wait, sorry, people? Note to self: cancel my appointment Wednesday to get my Thetans read. Hold on, I'm not supposed to convert. I can't convert Scientology.
Hey, by the way, I'm holding my my what did he call the sticks?
I can't remember. I saw the South Park episode.
Oh no, dude, watch that freaking documentary. It's crazy, man. Yeah. Get on that. Yeah, it's like I call them truth sticks. So you like hold them like these two bars, and you're supposed to like connect you to.
It's a nice basement. It's all lit. Now I'm picturing government drones working in dank subterranean stone.
They do! Zool, I'm not lying. They do. Well, they're not dank and dark. I mean, they actually have like fluorescent lights. But every time I'm in an underground area that has fluorescent lights, for anybody, I want to date myself really quick. For anybody that has seen Joe versus the volcano, the reason he wants to throw himself in the volcano is because he feels like his life is like boring and dank and endless and whatever. And he says this whole thing where he's like looking up at the fluorescent lights. Tom Hanks is like, and these fluorescent lights are just sucking the life out of me. And that's the way it feels like when you're underground. That's all the light you have is fluorescent lights.
Yeah.
Anyway. Is complete sidebar that has nothing to do with anything else. I apologize.
All good. Anything else from chapter 5 before we move to chapter 6?
Oh, so spoiler, by the way, hearing all this stuff about, you got to keep everything in your own head, and the fact that at the end of the chapters we read, Vin is thinking about the same thing, I was like, nice connection, right? Because she, like, literally in chapter 9, I think it's chapter 9, says that she has to start keeping all of her thoughts to herself. And I was like, Yep.
Indeed.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah.
Chapter 6.
Yeah.
Poor Marsh. It's a short chapter, but we get a really nice little epigraph here.
By the way, that's his hashtag. His hashtag is Poor Marsh.
Poor Marsh. Poor Marsh. All right. Rashik soon found balance in the changes he made to the world, which was fortunate because his power burned away quickly. Though the power he held seemed immense to him, it was in truth a tiny fraction of something much greater. Of course, he did end up naming himself the Sliver of Infinity in his religion. Perhaps he understood more than I give him credit for. In any case, we had him to thank for the world without flowers, where plants grew brown rather than green, and where people could survive in an environment where ash fell from the sky on a regular basis. Didn't mean to click that again.
I am pissed about the fact that it said that the power doesn't last that long. I was like, really? Really?
Yeah. Well, at least for Rashik, it didn't. So we're in Marsh's point of view. Very, very short. He regains some lucidity. It immediately starts trying to figure out a way to kill himself.
Oh my gosh. And he knows it's ruin. I mean,
he knows everything.
It's not like, he's like, oh, I don't know what's controlling me. He knows because he says ruin. And yeah, he's on top of it. So,
and then we get confirmation here that they are taking powers from the terrorist men because he just flat out says it. He's there at Colas camp with several other terrorists, with inquisitors who have the new spikes with terrorist keeping
and
powers.
Relishes when they do that because he talks about that because he kind of flips mid sentence or paragraph or whatever. So
right, because as soon as he starts even thinking about killing himself, Ruin focuses back on him and takes back control, and he just and he starts to even think if he'll ever get enough control to kill himself, and wishes that Ruin would keep control over him permanently rather than letting him have these lucid moments, like either all or nothing, like going back and forth. It's even making it worse.
Yeah,
because it's like I'm myself again. I can nope. Now it's back. It's like I'm trying to figure out a good way to like compare it to, but like all I can think about is like I'm trying to think of like a movie or something like that, like where you go back and forth between like being yourself, like maybe like multi-personality or something like that. But like it's different.
It's Crack Fiend.
Yeah, there we go.
I mean, Crack Fiend basically is like, oh, this crack is like terrible for me. I need to lay off of it, and then he. It just kind of takes over, and you're like, "Oh man, this crack is all right.
I'm gonna go get some crack."
Yeah. Anyway, that's pretty much this chapter.
So my Marsh theory.
Okay.
My Marsh theory for the book is this guy somehow or another continues to absorb all kinds of crazy powers because he's just going to get like every spike in him. He's going to like the man of 127 spikes. And then he somehow or another is going to kill Ruin. I don't know how, but I feel like Marsh is going to be the hero of this whole book. Boom.
I like that a lot because he says in this chapter, like, I need to go mad. And at first I was like, who the hell would say that? Like, who wants to go crazy? But then talking this through and you saying that, I think he's gonna go crazy and like something's just gonna explode. There's gonna be a big beam of light or something, and like he's just gonna like destroy Ruin.
Yeah, I feel I feel like you and I we're in the same like wavelength on that one.
Yeah.
If there was anybody that is going to defeat Ruin, the best way to do it is from the inside, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not the external folks who are coming in. I mean, why would Ruin let Ellen or Vin or somebody else get close? And I mean, even though she's gonna like shield her thoughts and whatever, the best thing is to just have a Inquisitor who is like in your inner circle just turn, because he keeps having these moments where he is like, outside of that influence. I feel like that's where the damage is going to happen. So I feel like Marsh is going to like do some things.
So
that's my theory.
Zul ask, is Marsh the hero of ages? I mean, that's the title of the book.
I think the hero of ages is not. I feel like it's a misnomer in that they're not a hero.
Okay.
I think that this if there's anything that Brandon Sanderson has set up is that I feel like the hero of ages isn't a necessarily good or bad thing. Okay. It's somewhere in between. Rashik, aka Lord Ruler, he was doing things in an altruistic level at one point in time, but now it just like it's all gotten muddied. I mean, maybe it's complacency over like millennia or whatever. And I think that, Marsh might take down whatever, but I mean, Marsh is not the hero of ages. Marsh has done terrible, terrible things and will probably continue to do terrible things over the course of this book.
Okay.
So I think hero of ages is kind of and again, this is all theory time. Mm-hmm. But I feel like he's not a hero of ages. He just might be the guy that delivers the killing blow.
Okay. Cool. Ready for chapter 7?
Absolutely.
All right. I speak of us as we, the group, those of us who were trying to discover and defeat Ruin. Perhaps my thoughts are now tainted, but I look back and see the sum of what we're doing as a single, united assault. Though we were all involved in different processes and plans, we were one. That didn't stop the world from ending. But that's not necessarily a bad thing.
See, this thing about thoughts being tainted, that's the reason why I came with this idea about the game of telephone, or what you say to somebody isn't necessarily what they hear. That's where I came up with that. So I didn't just make that up in a vacuum. Sure. I heard that part, and that's where I came with the concept that you can't even talk to somebody. And I'm thinking of it like, well, it might be like if I told, if I was trying to tell Will 2 + 2 is definitely 4, and what he heard was 2 + 2 is 5. That's the way I interpret it. So that's the reason I'm kind of sticking with that theory. Huh?
Okay, 1984.
Nice. You got my reference. Yes. George Orwell is my guy. Orwell. Man. I love this guy, yo.
2 + 2 is 5. No, it's 4. It's 5.
It's 5.
It's 5. That's like
it's not the Department of Truth. Is it the Department of Truth? Is that what it's called? I can't remember the official name.
I think it is the Department of Truth.
Oh, okay, yeah. But those things are hilarious. It was great. I loved everything about that.
When they recondition you back to the public, like whatever we say is the right thing, not whatever you've been taught.
Nope.
So 2 + 2 is 5.
Yep.
Repeat after me. 2 + 2 is 5.
Yep.
You will not be allowed to leave prison until you agree that 2 + 2 = 5.
And you walk out of there like, duh, it's 2 + 2 is 5. Come on.
Brain condition washing.
That conditioning is something else. Anyway.
Good old 1984. Yeah, if you haven't read the book, it's a great book. Another dystopian world. Our world.
That and Animal Farm.
There's a lot of Brave New World. There's a lot of good.
Brave New World. I forgot about Brave New World. Yes. All right.
Aldous Huxley. Yeah, Aldous Huxley. Yeah.
I think we read those in like 9th grade. And
they have you read them when you're way too young
it
to
was
comprehend
way
gravity.
too early for me to read that shit. Other kids in my class were good, but I was like, nope.
Yeah,
when you go back and read them as a
way too
jaded, like
early.
really cynical
Yeah,
adult, they hit a
I
lot
need
different.
to go back and read those.
As a young aspiring child, and they sent you and like have you read this book, you're like, I don't know. Then they hit different when you read them older.
Yep.
Well, like Animal Farm, they kind of do that on purpose. I feel like read
it's
it
on
when
the
you're
nose.
young and then
Yeah.
reread it.
That's on the nose.
You know, the book that I felt like when I read it, I was like, I'm way too young to be reading this book. Just because there's kids in it does not mean I need to be reading it as a kid. Lord of the Flies.
Yeah.
I was like,
to your Asmar.
That's another one.
This book is, I was like, no, this is not a kid's book. Why are you making me read this as a child? I was like, no, absolutely. That thing traumatized me. I was like, no.
My son got a stuffed guinea pig because he wanted a real guinea pig. So my mother-in-law got him a stuffed guinea pig, like a little stuffed. And I asked him what his name was on Christmas morning. He goes, Piggy. I said, sucks to his ass.
No. Just trickle of blood down the temple. No.
Sucks to his Asmar.
Piggy, no.
Piggy, no. Yeah, that's a really, really, really dark book.
I mean, seriously though, it is the craziest dark book.
There's lots of books of that. Anyway, moving on to chapter 7. It's another fairly short chapter. It's a little longer than the last one, but a lot about Chandra. A whole lot about Chandra. So,
by the way, still do not like what's his name?
TenSoon.
I still hate him. I'm sorry, I cannot get over what he did. What he did to Orsier. I can't get over it. I'm sorry.
Poor TenSoon. Not only is he getting all this torture in the book, but he's getting hate from Alondo. I mean, this is just like
I'm sorry. He put torture, whatever, on top of Orsier, and Orsier was just trying to do his thing. I mean, he was just fulfilling a contract. I hate him until I'm given a compelling reason to like him.
Okay. So what do you think about the Chandra? You learn a lot about the society in this chapter and the final chapter too, but
yeah.
A lot of this. They gave him bones. And they thought it would take him a long time too.
Yeah, they're shocked by his capabilities, right?
Yeah, he just builds even real fast. He's like, yeah, you young bucks. I've been doing
But they thought he was like, oh, you've already built this before. He's like, no, this is my first time. You know?
Well, apparently they did give him familiar bones. He's like, who'd you give me? They didn't tell him, and he was just like, wait, I'm supposed to know this person? He built it perfectly. Yes.
Yeah.
Huh, okay. Yeah. And he was already dead. TenSoon was just doing his job. He didn't do it to us. Well, no. Osier, he killed Osier.
He killed Orsier and tortured him. Sorry, Zool. I can't disagree with you on that one. Because
he killed the Chandra. Chandra killed the Chandra.
Yeah, he. Anyway, look, justice for Orsier.
How do you kill a Chandra? Like how I was actually killed.
We don't.
Well, Acid can kill him. We learned that much.
I don't feel like we were told that information, but we do know that he was tortured, and we do know that he gave up the ghost of information to TenSoon, which is the reason why I don't like TenSoon. I don't like the fact he had torture, and I mean he killed him, but he tortured him before he killed him. I'm like, no.
Good answer.
No, tell us now.
That's right. Screw y'all's Raffo.
I'm not reading anymore.
There you go, Will. Put down a firm stance. Hashtag I stand with Will.
So anyway, so it goes through like after getting the body, how relieved it feels to actually have real lungs again after a year of being goop at the bottom of the prison cell, like actually having lungs again. And
I love that word.
What do you say?
You like the word goop?
Yeah, it's a good word.
It's a good word.
It's a good
say
word.
that.
Yeah.
It rolls off the tongue and everything, and it's like goop.
Goop.
The finest selection of vino. Goop.
Now, who's the blueberry? No, the boy from Gustavus Goop. That was his name from Willy Wonka and Chocolate Factory? That doesn't sound right. Something. The big kid that.
Oh, the big one.
Yeah, and ate all the stuff and then rolled
I
them out.
know. Yeah, I know you're talking about.
Augustus Gloop.
Gloop. Thank you. All right.
The pictures
Close.
of him are hilarious.
Hey,
Close.
anyway, gloop. That's another word that just rolls off the tongue well. Gloop. Yeah.
Gloop. Anyway, so they kind of go on. He said, "I thought you picked out a random set of bones from the storeroom. It's ironic. I gave you a set of bones you contributed that you used before, or whatever." He's like, "What? Like, I don't know what you're talking about. I just made this body fast." Like, and they're just amazed. The younger generation, like, huh, craziness. So we also learn about the hierarchy, and so TenSoon's of the third generation, which is one of the oldest Conjure out there. The second never leave the homeland. And the first, they don't even know who the first are. They don't even see the first generation. They're still alive apparently somewhere in there, but like the second talks at least, but they never leave and they never have left. And there's this whole thing where the third generation was a little bit more rebellious, but the fourth and fifth were less, but then the sixth and seventh have been more rebellious again. Like it goes through a bunch of this stuff like real fast, just that there's inner fighting, not necessarily fighting, but like just suspicion and stuff going on amongst the Conjure society.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, thoughts on Conjure in all this?
We got to hear more. There's like all this hierarchy and stuff. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm really curious to hear. Will all your notes? I know you've been doing a note thing. So
they get into it in this chapter. They talk about second generation, third generation the most, and then like fourth and fifth and beyond. They harp on I think the fifth a lot.
Yeah.
And the way I pictured it is like, okay, my grandparents, second generation. They had their kids, my parents, and they had me. So I'd be the fourth generation. My grandparents, grandkids always get along great. And then there's the parents. The grandparents look at the parents. They're like, you fucked up raising those kids. I would have done this and this and this. And so the second generation looks at fourth and fifth generation as like, oh, they're easy to control. They're easy to manipulate. They're so young. Third generation is like close enough to where like they're kind of a threat. That's kind of how I was picturing things because they talk about TenSoon. I mean, TenSoon was like the best of the third generation because he like did the contracts and did that, but then he committed the ultimate, sin by killing or whatever.
Right. Or dissipating track, attacking a human, also a couple of things too, giving secrets away. There's a lot of things he's wanted for.
But here I go looking at it in a my world as like a generational age thing. It could very well not be an age thing at all. I mean, the fifth generation could be the oldest but maybe they're just.
No, they mentioned it at some point, saying a couple hundred years younger. They did say couple hundred years at some point. It was like a throwaway line, but there was something in there.
Yeah. So, yeah. Well, then that's how I'm looking at it. Is like the first are like the
ancients,
the elders, the elders, right? And then the second are still kind of in power, but they don't really do anything. They like peace and harmony, and below them are the people who are still young enough to, to work and do stuff.
Yeah.
I was more curious about the like description of their bodies.
Yeah, the true form.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
Yeah,
true form Conjure.
I already know you guys
starting to see what they actually look like.
Yeah,
we're talking about like artisan quartz bones, where they were made by artisans to be perfect, and they form translucent skin, so they show off their shiny crystal bones underneath them. And
so it's bones, okay?
But they're made of quartz.
Bones.
Yeah, so they say they're artisan made. So like they'll carve like gemstones or quartz into bone shapes. And then they'll form translucent flesh around these crystals. So they shine and glimmer.
That's crazy. I need to look up some deviant art of that.
Nice.
Careful.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're told we're not supposed to do that.
I'm not going to, but I want to.
Maybe you can look up just Conjure. No, because there's probably like some spoiler for like something later.
Let me see if I can find. This is not
Bag of Antlers deviant art.
Yeah, there you go.
I have antlers, dude.
Now, I'm gonna
some...
again jump ahead, but it made me think about something when I went back in time. In terms of like what chapters we have read, was I have gotten really interested in this idea of what's going on with the reproduction situation. Why are there generations? Does that mean like there's like a generation where it's like the Lord ruler was like first pass at this, and it's like not so good, and then second pass, and then third pass, and then maybe he's made the fourth and fifth and sixth passes of these contra more subjective and easy to rule and whatever, and that's the reason why they have different mindsets. I don't know. I really don't feel like reproduction between Khandra is a thing, because it's kind of like, and what brought this all up is when the Colossus, I know I'm jumping ahead, can't understand the concept of gender.
Right.
And I'm like, yeah, what's up with Khandra gender? I mean, there's...
They do use pronouns, though, if you didn't catch that.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, so we get to that.
I hadn't heard,
because
we get
Milan.
Khandra.
We get Milan that comes in. He mentions her and says her.
Oh, really? Oh. Okay, I don't remember that part. So...
Because he calls Varcel he... definitely calls Milan her.
Okay.
I'll just say that there's pronouns.
Oh, cool. And again, I'm really curious. So I'm really into this idea of trying to understand how these generations of things come along, like the Colossus, like Khandra. How does that happen, right?
Rapho.
Oh, of course, it's gonna all be Rapho. That's like the answer to every question we ask.
Yeah, at this point, I mean, there's not much.
How come McDonald's fries don't use beef tallow anymore? Rapho.
We'll never Rapho on that.
Now, I know, stupid jerk that like said they were causing heart attacks. Screw you, dude. You took a whole generation away from the idea of the best McDonald's fries that ever existed.
Yep.
I'm sorry for everyone that was born after 1985.
Oh.
Anyways, yeah, there's actually a whole entire study that was done on that, like the rise of heart disease in America, and it directly links back to cooking in vegetable oil. Like before, you used to use lots of different oils to cook in, so like peanut oil, like other stuff, but like just processed vegetable oil causes heart attacks.
It's like that's the thing that causes heart attacks. This guy went off of one study and proved, because he was just like a vigilant, Uber ass, and he was like, you can't cook in this beef tallow, and it's like, but it's amazing. It tastes so much better, and it's so much more healthy than this other nonsense we use, which is basically synthesized, which is beef tallow. I'm sorry, I'm getting on another soapbox. I'm gonna hush up now.
Bring back the beef tallow fries.
Beef tallow fries.
Yeah, I got
Who said that? Wait, you've never had?
No, I've never had beef tallow fries.
The old McDonald's fries when your kids were cooked in beef tallow.
They were cooked in beef tallow. They were amazing.
What?
Oh my gosh.
I think they're still cooked in. I don't know when they made the switch.
They made the switch in like 1990, I think it was, or it might have been earlier than that. I'm pretty sure it was.
Yeah.
Anyway, there's a whole documentary about it. But if anybody's interested, I know how to make them in beef tallow, and so I can make like some fries, and they freeze well, heat up well, can get cooked again in like oil and taste great. Yeah. They're like the best thing. They're the best thing in all of human society eating. I'll take that over like a beef Wellington or baked Alaska or whatever you come up with. Maybe not better than lobster. Oh, Cornish. Oh, no. Too many bones. Sorry. I hate Cornish hen, man.
So do I.
Yeah. There's so much fancy food I've had in my life, and when I've had it the first time, I was like, that's it? That's it? That's your story? I mean, it's like, when you had escargot the first time, you're like, oh, okay, sure.
Frog legs. Where's the rest of it?
Caviar is all right. But there's better fish eggs out there than caviar.
I like salmon roe better, but that's just me. So.
Look, we went to a caviar, my wife's birthday dinner in Finland. We basically did 17 course caviar dinner thing, and the caviar was the worst part. Everything else was so much better than the caviar, which is the priciest part. I'm like, nah, sorry, nah.
Yeah.
It's like champagne and sparkling wine. Yeah. I've had some amazing sparkling wine. I will take over champagne all day long, every day. I don't care about price. I like what I like.
There you go. That's it.
And Alondo soapbox again. My bad.
It's all good. Anything for chapter 8 before we move to chapter 7 before we move to chapter 8?
No. You think Condra for French fries?
Oh, they would love that stuff. They'd be like
all that tallow. That just helps to build those muscles, and
it back to the bones.
Look at the bones. Look at the bones. They eat anything. It's all right.
Oh yes, they do.
Anyways, chapter 8.
Okay.
It is too easy for people to characterize ruin as simply a force of destruction. Think rather ruin as intelligent decay, not simply chaos, but a force that sought in a rational and dangerous way to break everything down to its most basic forms. Ruin can plan and carefully plot, knowing if he built up one thing, he could use it to knock down 2 others. The nature of the world is that when we create something, we often destroy something else in the process. It's so profound. But it's true.
Look at society. Real talk.
Real talk. We create something beautiful, but destroy something else in the process.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway. Yeah. But Ruin's whole thing is not just simply chaos. There's a method to his madness, is basically what it's saying. Intelligent decay.
But the thing is, we still don't know exactly what ruin is, right? I mean, right now, seriously, all we know of ruin is that it's a amorphous entity.
Okay.
We haven't seen ruin. We haven't set eyes on ruin.
We
don't know if all ruin, and we don't even know how ruin spoke. I mean, it's was ruin like a force ghost, or was ruin just hitting her in the in the mind, or we don't know.
Okay.
And its influence is crazy widespread. It's everywhere all the time, all at once. So
that's why I thought about the whole negativity thing. Is this a metaphor for mental illness? Is he a mind? Is he just in everybody innately?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah,
I think you might be on closer to it, Will, than I am in my thinking about what ruin actually is. You might be closer when you talk about the idea of mental illness or whatever. Maybe it's a byproduct that affects everybody's minds, and maybe that's how it's effective, right?
I mean, maybe he's associated with the mist. I mean, I think we know he's associated with the mist, or do we? But is it just a spirit that's in the everywhere, like you're saying?
Interesting.
I don't know. I mean, I'm just as curious as you, obviously, but I feel like you might be onto something where I'm thinking of it as more like a one thing, one person, one entity, whereas maybe it's a lot more global and far-reaching than that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, any more thoughts before we actually get to this chapter?
Keep going, man.
Sure.
Yeah.
So we start with Vin watching the mist just obliterate the people they just saved, which is tough. And Vin's going through a lot. It causes sickness, killing a nearly predictable number of them.
Yeah, this is harsh. This whole, I gotta say, this is harsh. I understand the purpose. I understand the need.
Right.
But yeah, okay. So basically, if you survive the COVID-19 fog, then you can actually survive it, forever. And I'm like, yeah, but subjecting these people to that.
It's like chickenpox. If you get chickenpox once, you can't get it again. That's
Yeah,
why
but
back when we were kids, before there's a vaccine, they just when one kid in the neighborhood would get chickenpox. Sorry, this is also showing my age. Back when we were kids, before they didn't have a chickenpox vaccine, so when one kid in the neighborhood got chickenpox, you went to go hang out at Billy's house.
Yeah.
So you get chickenpox too, because it kills kids at a much smaller percentage than if you get it as an adult.
Right.
So the idea was with chickenpox was like as soon as someone gets it, you just infect all the kids in the neighborhood on purpose. So you just get it over with, and then you're immune for life. There's a lot of diseases like that.
Except for shingles, which unfortunately I still suffer from every so often. I had chickenpox when I was like in my 20s. I got shingles in my 30s. I didn't know what the hell it was.
Yeah.
And it is crazy terrible. And I'm like, this is in my 30s. I'm going to hit 50 at some point in time here, like in the next couple of years. And I'm like, if this ish comes back, Lord have mercy.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah. But yeah, there are certain diseases out there. I mean, that's how vaccines work too, is they give a decayed or dead virus to you so your body knows how to protect it from the actual virus. And that's how a lot of these vaccines work.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So
well, wasn't the rationale like they either stay back and
starve?
Yeah. It's like a slow death or they go to Luthadel. Some people are going to die. I mean, people are going to die either way.
Either way, you're going to die.
I mean, logically, it made perfect sense. Will
it's still,
it's
still hard to do
that because it was still the best choice. But I guess like you're saying, Alan, though, it is. I mean, as a person that is like has any humanity, knowing what you're doing, ripping apart families and putting all this trauma and stress on people, I just don't know if I could do it.
Yeah,
I'm not the one. So
it's tough.
I'm more with Ellen, where I'm like, time is of the essence. Let's get this shit over with. Whatever it is, what it is. Like, he's thinking big picture,
right?
Yeah.
And Fatron's in the camp of what have you done to us?
He's very.
Yeah, he's pissed, and Ellen's just like, this is necessary. Like, it's either you all starve or we just kill the ones that are going to die anyway. And unless you never want to go outside ever again, the mists are coming more and more and more. You'll eventually be confined to your home forever until you starve, or you can just rip the Band-Aid off. Some of y'all are going to die, and the rest will be fine, and we march on.
Right. And those of you that are resilient, you will get a little sick right now. You will, get over it and just move on, and then you never have to fear it.
Yeah,
maybe never have to fear it, the mist again. Hopefully, we'll see what happens with that. I don't know if that's going to hold up. That might just be like a temporary thing while the mists continue to get stronger and stronger. But the mists cause so many other things though too.
Yeah,
like
sickness and
seizures and sickness and all these other ailments. So, I mean, it can still possibly impact you in a very, very terrible way, which is got to be still. I mean, that's got to be fear-inducing for everybody, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so after this whole conversation, Vin goes back to interrogate her first Colossus that she has control over.
Yeah, this conversation is interesting.
Oh, yeah. I can't wait to talk to you guys about this one. So we meet our first named Colossus ever,
Human. I was really hoping it was going to be like human, like HOOMAN or something. Nope, it's human.
It's human.
Human. Okay.
Yep. And she starts by asking him, he's like, what do you guys want? And he says something like, I hate you, I want to kill you or something like that. And she's like, whatever, I can control her for you. And he starts to try to ask about reproduction, like, well, where'd the small ones come from? And he's like, what do you mean? We're human. Like, what are you? He's like, we're human. And she's like, no, like, where are your females? He goes, I don't understand. Like, he's just,
yeah.
And he's like, what's your name? He goes, human. Like, what? Like, I just, He's just really confused.
Yeah.
I thought, like, is that his name, or do they just want to be human? Like, if you ask another Colossus that, would they say human too? Are they all human? They all
I
think
feel like
they're
that I definitely had that same question. And I knew I was gonna get a raffle answer to that, so I'm not even asking the question.
Yeah. I mean, I think
I know it's gonna be a raffle. So
am I far off? Am I really far off there?
Dude, you are on the same line of reasoning that I am. So I guarantee you we are like
He's human.
It's been very few times you and I haven't been in alignment. So I feel like another time you
Is
and I are lockstep, dude.
Is Sanderson saying that humans are dumb and we're Colossus and we're just dumb brutes?
Oh, he's going with that deep philosophical analyst. Okay.
We're the Colossus.
That's right. That's right.
There's some out there.
Oh, yeah. Well, I met him.
Oh, that's definitely true. By the way, every time this guy describes skin tearing, blah, 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 I'm like, just like, I just want to drop
nose pressed in.
Nose flat on the face.
I just want to just take the headphones off.
Like, there's a little tear on the eye with a little skin
Please stop describing this nonsense. I don't want to hear about this. Okay, fine. I'll just deal with it.
Yeah, she asked about their size. He's like, well,
I'm bigger than most.
I'm not, but I'm not the biggest, but I'm bigger than most.
Yep.
But then he's like, you're big too, though. Talking to Ben.
Yeah, he's like, he says, yeah, he says, you're big on the inside. Us Colors are small on the inside. He says that too.
Does he?
Yeah, he says that, which makes no sense. But you can tell what he's trying to say is that she has all this power internally.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I thought too. But when he says we're small on the inside,
because they don't have that power. They don't have that power internally to affect the world.
Yeah, they have a different kind of power. They have brute force. They don't have allomancy.
You got to think about it. I would say it in terms of influence, right? Then with her powers can influence a whole, let's just say kilometers maybe around her, whereas a Colossus can only affect like meters around them. So I think that's the reason why they're probably like, well, we're not that big in terms of our sphere of influence.
Yeah. So after eventually human, the Colossus shuts down, doesn't really talk anymore, and there's nothing more Vince getting out of him. So
right,
she kind of just they leave the conversation.
Other than saying he wants to kill her, but he can't.
Oh, he said that like so many times. He's like, I hate you so much right now. Whatever that song is, I can't remember the name of that song. Ooh. Anyway, he's like, I hate you. I hate you. I hate you. I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna kill you. I can't because you're controlling me.
But when I have my lucid thoughts and my moments of lucidity, I'm gonna kill you.
And so again, this comes back full circle to Marsh and Ruin, right?
Well, how is Marsh controlled and how are the Colossus controlled?
So that's the thing. We don't know the details of that. So Marsh is controlled by means that, which I think is coming from the spikes in that whole process and what happens with him. But the Colossus are controlled by, allomancy or, some variation thereof. But it's so similar. It's too obviously similar for me to ignore the fact that it's like the Colossus are like, in moments, I feel like I have my own mind, but not enough where I can actually do anything, which is the same thing with Marsh. And I was like, okay, this is just too similar for me to ignore.
Could a Allomancer take control of an Inquisitor?
Couldn't.
If they didn't have spikes,
I can't see why not. I think it might just require a level of look. These are all created by the Lord Ruler, right?
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, the Lord Ruler has come up with all these concepts. I mean, nobody sat in their garage and was like, I can't wait to put these spikes through my body. So it had to come from the Lord Ruler or a entity before he existed. There's too much similarity though. I feel like the Koloss, the Kandra, and the Inquisitors, not the Obligators. I'm gonna like take them out for a second, but I feel like those three things are too similar. Something's going on there, right?
Yeah.
Because this contract with the Kandra not explained, right? So I'm like, okay, well, why is that important? That means there's a control mechanism there. Koloss, same thing. They're mindless,
Right.
but there's still a control mechanism there. Inquisitors, same thing. There's a control mechanism there. We don't understand how it works, but they are like the echelon of mystical, I'm going to call it magical powers that you can have with allomancy.
Okay.
So I feel like it's like experimentation that happened and these three segments were created, and that's kind of where the controlled populations kind of funnel into. It's one of those three things.
Okay. Interesting.
We haven't talked about hemalurgy much.
Well, no, because we haven't been told. We haven't been given much information. But yeah, go ahead, man.
Well, I mean, isn't hema blood?
Yes.
I don't know,
like a
spikes.
Hematoma.
Yeah, like hematosis or whatever.
Yeah.
Spikes in the body, you know, the spikes are going, the metal I feel like is going to be channeled through the blood in some way through that. And maybe you're like radiating power control through that somehow. The unfortunate part of this rant is that I forgot how the other rant we were just talking about started, so I don't know where I was going.
I said, can Allomancers control Inquisitors?
Yeah. So that's where I think if the spikes were removed, I mean, they're not Inquisitors anymore, right? So I think that's the only way you could control it.
Well, you remove at least the main linchpin one that die.
Oh.
Because that's what Marsh did to that one Inquisitor.
Maybe if they touch every spike at the same time, do like Spider-Man, and then like, you know, I don't know.
Hold a seance, everyone touches spike, and like a Ouija board, and like lies of feathers, stiff as a board. Lies of feathers, stiff as a board. Yes. Lies of feathers, stiff as a board. And
I feel like this is some Avatar stuff where it's like blood bending, where it's like,
okay,
there's like avatars or other folks who can actually like do water bending, and there's like people who are like have gone like off the deep edge, and now they can like bend blood, and they can actually like, because they can bend blood, that means they can control you and the blood that's in you. I mean, and blood of course is primarily, you know, red blood cells, which also have a lot of iron. So,
and hemoglobin,
which is where that comes from. And that's the reason why, you know, I had said something about that whole, you know, hema being blood too. And again, Will and I are like, we're on the same track. I mean, there's nothing he's been saying that's deviating from what I'm thinking.
It's all important and part of the greater puzzle. Thank you, Zul.
Sometimes blood can become globular, which reminds me of the word goop. Gloop. So ipso facto.
Gloop. Yep.
Full circle. There you go.
That's right.
That's right.
Anything else from this chapter? Oh no, we get the last scene. We've got the last scene. So Ellen and Vin get back to the refugee at the canal. They're worried about the canals because the ash has been falling steadily now. It's starting to fill in the canals.
Yep.
And the Skull are free now, so they're not really doing some of those jobs they're forced to do, like the nasty ones, like dredging. And if you guys ever dredged before, it is nasty work. It's just gross. Everything sinks to the bottom. It's gross. I've done it before. Actually, we're live and people might listen to this. I've never dredged before illegally. Never mind.
This guy.
Because that's where everybody's head went to.
That's right.
Sorry. Someone's going to look up the Army Corps of Engineer like, wait, where's his contract that he can dredge? I'm not gonna say I did it in this country. How about that? So it's gross work. Let's put it that way. It's gross. But lots of gloop there at the bottom of the.
But they're dredging these canals, right?
Mhm.
Because everything ties back to Luthadel. They're now down
Right.
at this point, and they need to get back. So like, they meet up with General Demu,
Yeah.
right? They're like, oh, the plan worked. Good job. Like, take all these people back and send your troops to go, get the supplies from the city.
Mm-hmm.
So you start to see Ellen's, they've got Luthadel and the central dominance, and however the waterways are really what connect everything, right?
Right.
So they're trying to
and they
keep
even
those
describe
open.
the canals are straight. I mean, they're dug canals. They're not rivers. These are actually man-made canals.
Right.
Like you ever look at the ditch, the intercoastal waterway?
Yeah.
For those of us that live on the East Coast, it's connected to a bunch of your blurs get in there. Is that goop?
Yeah, unfortunately, your blurred background
I think
is
this
actually
is
messing
goop.
with your.
I think this is goop. Yep, there it is. Goop.
For my friend Narafin in the.
Nothing. It's just stop with the goop.
Oh no! Uh-oh.
No.
It's like moist.
I will never.
So is it one of those words that people don't like? I didn't know that goop was.
I
one
guess
of
there's certain words that
Narfin
just
doesn't
trigger
like
some people.
Oh, he doesn't like the word. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, but there's just certain words for certain people.
So the waters on the canal are undulating, and
now that's a word I love. I love saying the word undulating. I don't know why.
Some people hate that word. So
really, what?
Yeah.
What? Who hates the word undulate?
What does undulating even mean? It's like vibrating or like
No,
moving
undulation is like
it's like to
basically
move
think of
like
a
waves
wave,
undulates.
right? So like it's like an undulation is like a think about oscillation and like there's like a wave, it's just like undulate. But usually think about it like something's like under the ground or like
Yeah.
under the water.
Like if the Earth starts to breathe up and down because
Right,
there's like a
that's
pocket of air,
undulation.
cold,
Yeah, yeah.
undulation in the ground. Yeah,
Yeah.
There's another word. What's a synonym? All right, I'm gonna look it up.
For undulation?
to move up and down or to move in and out. I don't know.
There's a very specific word.
I said oscillation, that's all I got, but that doesn't make sense because oscillation is the movement of anything in opposing directions.
Right.
There's a
Like
song.
winds oscillate. Like you have oscillating
Oscillation.
wind. Like wind will oscillate, but that's not undulate.
Yeah.
Undulate's different.
Undulate, yeah. Trying to think of something that's related to like hills or mountains or the earth.
Yeah.
I got nothing right now.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm searching. I'll get back to you.
Okay. Sounds good. Anything from chapter 8 before we move to chapter 9?
Oh yeah, that's right. We got chapter
We got one more chapter left. It's not a long
let's go.
chapter. We got one left.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
All right. So here's the last one. Elemancy was indeed born with the mists, or at least Elemancy began at the same time the mist's first appearances. When Rashik took the power from the Well of Ascension, he became aware of certain things. Some were whispered to him by Ruin. Others were granted to him as an instinctive part of the power. One of these was an understanding of the 3 metallic arts. He knew, for instance, that the nuggets of metal in the Chamber of Ascension would make those who ingest them mistborn. These were, after all, fractions of the very power of the well itself. In the well itself, yeah.
So the 3 metallic arts: allomancy, ferrochemy, and hemalurgy, right?
Yep.
We know that now.
You nailed it.
Alan.
Okay, fine, yes.
No, I can tell you right now.
Yeah,
Will,
I felt confident about that.
you nailed it. I'm sorry. I don't care if you're wrong. I stand by it because I believe the same thing.
Yeah.
Let's go.
It was capitalized. 3 metallic arts.
3 metallic arts, yes.
Got it.
Okay.
If it's not hemalurgy, it's goop.
So
Strong
now we
take.
learned official
Strong
take.
confirmation that
I'll
that
stop
nugget.
saying it now.
We already knew that Ellen got his power from that, but apparently this was a fraction of the power that was the well itself.
But it explains everything about why, up until now, Ellen has more power than Vin. Because Vin got her power from genetics. Ellen got his power
From the source.
straight from the source.
Yep.
You went straight in. He was like, hey. give me that protein shake from the real sea source.
Yeah. So I mean that explains also. I mean, so even TenSoon in the last book explained to Vin that over the years, because he's thousands, he's very old. He says Mistborn used to be a lot stronger, and they've become weaker and weaker generationally.
Right, because you're getting diluted through generational hierarchy, right?
Right. Whereas Elend is from the source, so that's why even though he's a year in, he's really powerful.
Yeah, but he got that straight pure Coke.
Mm-hmm. straight from Cartagena.
Oh yes, sir. Yes, sir. You talking that uncut? Oh man, he got that Breaking Bad right there. He got that blue ice.
There you go. So TenSoon again. Where were TenSoon? I love all the names of all these Kandra. Kanpar of the second generation as TenSoon. If he insists upon being tried in TenSoon, he says, "Yeah, let's do it." And all these hundreds of Kandras start to arrive at the Trust Warren, where the proceedings will be taking place. And during this, really, just TenSoon's looking around, looking for, I guess, a friend of his Milan, who's a close friend of TenSoon's, and he's wondering if she'll be there. And then he finally spots her towards the end. And they all, pretty much all the rest of the Kandra, I've already pretty much think this is all just a farce, and it's just delaying the inevitable. But apparently TenSoon has some tricks up his sleeve.
Right.
Because he kind of hints it at the end. So, and this is where they talk about a lot of the conflict within the Kandra population as well.
All right. Between the generations.
Yeah. So this is going to be a proxy war of a contest between Kanpar's second generation and TenSoon's entire generation, third generation. Mm-hmm. So it's this.
Yeah, second generation is trying to make the third generation look bad by using TenSoon as an example.
Yep.
Is the platform that TenSoon is on the platform that's on the cover of the book?
Which book do you have?
There's a spike going.
It's got blurred. It's getting blurred, unfortunately.
This one. Okay.
Oh, you guys got the same one. Okay.
Yeah.
That looks like it's hemorrhagy.
Yeah, I mean that's a spike going into a platform.
Because that's a spike going into like one of those. I look at that and it looks like one of those like platforms where they're like it's like a body. It's supposed to be under another body, so like a body lays on top of it. It looks like a spike is going through, like the heart spike.
Yeah, something like that.
Because my book cover looks like nothing like that.
They all look different.
Yeah, so mine's is like
there's like a bunch of different cover art for it.
Yeah,
gotcha.
I don't even know if it's even worth showing it because it's just like I don't know if you guys can see that at all.
Yeah, that's the original cover.
Yeah,
just Vin flying through the air. Yeah,
yeah. So it's like
I just remember the rose window on the first book.
Yeah,
when Vin blasts that out, it was like a big moment. So I'm wondering if this platform is.
Did you get the Well of Ascension cover? We never talked about what was on that one. That's the bead in the pot shuttering bar.
Jeez, what Well of Ascension doing?
Yeah, changing the subject. I'm right. No, the only notes I have for this chapter was the generational thing that we just talked about, but also Melan. When she enters the room, she like stops in the doorway, and like the people have to go around her because she sees TenSoon. So there's clearly a connection between those two that we don't know about. So
yeah,
I just said keep an eye on that relationship because there's more to come there.
Yeah.
So China White,
my covers suck. Yeah, like Well of Ascension. This cover is like garbage. It's like
just another Vin flying through the air.
Vin flying through the air. I'm like, well, okay, well that's could have come from any scene,
yeah,
anywhere ever.
Those are the original cover arts, and then they've changed them over the years.
And then I like different the ones where it's like something where like you can like kind of infer that something cool is going to happen if you knew or you come back and read it later, you're like, oh shoot, that thing showed off the fact that he actually sucks on a frog's leg or something like that. I don't know.
There's some other cool ones that I like a lot.
You know?
Let me see. Like, there's once they released the second era, they made a whole box set of all of them that like kind of look cool. Let me see if I can. Yeah, these are kind of cool. I like these ones. I'll share my screen. Hold on, let me see if I can do that. Present, share screen. Let's see if I can find Mistborn covers. Share. So like those are pretty cool ones.
Yeah.
So you have Final Empire, Well Ascension, Hero of Ages. There's different. Yeah, a couple of them like that.
Cool. See, and I love stuff like that because a lot of these comic books that I have up on my wall, they're variant covers.
Mm-hmm.
And in comic book lore, variant covers can actually, because they're rarer, go for more money. Yeah. But sometimes the variant cover is like better, like because it tells more of the story or whatever. And I love that kind of stuff. So it makes me more interested to look into those. But I've tried, of course, to do my best and not do too much research because I have a tendency to over investigate and over research because I'm crazy detail oriented, which me and my wife have conversations about all the time. So here's why I gotta like just pump the brakes. I'm like, I'm not gonna go, I'm not gonna deep dive, I'm not gonna look into it. I did look into the first book. After we finished the first book, I did do the deep dive into all the different covers.
Okay.
For that book.
Yeah.
And man, it was so intriguing. I have not done it for the second book because I forgot.
Yeah.
But I will go back and look now that we're done with it. I want to see like all the things. I want to see like all the variations and what they came up with and you know how intricate and crazy they got. Yeah. I'm interested in that. I love that stuff. So
Alan, how aware of you of the 17 theories? Can Nephren vary? Extremely?
Yeah, I would say Alan's probably read that, Jordan.
I've read all the Cosmere and some of the stuff that's not published multiple times. So vary, and then like a lot of Branson interviews, and I kind of dove deep into Cosmere a couple of years ago and haven't come back out since. So that to answer your question, yes, but I would not. They can read these chats, so I won't type it here if you have questions.
Yeah, hit him up on the
hit me on Discord.
Yo, because now Discord. That's the reason I love Discord. And I've gotten more into it. I like and by the way, for all of you out there, I get all the notifications now on Discord, so I read like every notification that comes through. I don't respond to everything, but then there's certain areas of Discord I do not venture into. I don't check it because I want to make sure that I'm not getting like spoilers.
The only Cosmere stuff I have not read yet, I know because the next Stormlight book's coming out in December, and Brandon Sanderson's released the prologue to it and a couple of like sneak peek stuff, and I don't like to read sneak peek stuff. It's
me
just a personal preference.
Even if it's the same thing, I'm like, well, what did that do for me, right?
Yeah, I don't like reading that, so I have not read any of the sneak peek stuff. So if it has to do with that and Stormlight, then I don't know of it because I've been keeping my head in the hole. Because when the book comes out, I'll read the whole thing, but I don't do sneak peek stuff. I like to keep my theories going in my mind until I have the whole book in front of me to prove me otherwise. Not snippets.
There you go.
But yeah, so that's it. I think. Yeah, TenSoon's about to go on trial and he has some tricks in his sleeve. Any thoughts on how this trial is going to go? Is it going to be a farce? Is it going to be just? I
hate TenSoon, so I don't care. I mean, I'm just being honest, guys. I hate him. They stab him in the face. I'm like, okay, sure, whatever. I hate him.
They touch on how he's been in prison in that little cell or well or whatever for like a year. I would hope that he's prepared to, tear them apart. But I think he will. I don't know. Maybe not. But just because they asked that in the chat, did they mention Shard in this book already? Because
yes, they mentioned it at the
okay, like chapter 4. I have.
Wait, was it the end of the last book?
I don't know.
At the end of chapter 4, this book,
you know what?
my notes, I have sharded.
We were
like,
joking
old
about
house.
the shards of pottery from last one. The chat went crazy about shards, but
Yeah, so that's all I'm thinking about is shards of pottery. But I feel like there's like more gravitas to that, but I might just be construing something that's probably not true.
Okay, well, maybe I should just let that go for now.
Okay. Yeah,
I had it in my notes. I don't know why.
I think it's a good note to have.
yeah.
Yeah.
Raffo.
I feel like shard. Yeah, raffle on that. Shard. I feel like comes back to that piece of pottery.
Okay.
It seems like really significant. There's metal in it, and basically turns you into a misborn god. So why not?
Okay. Interesting. Well, we can touch on that later.
I am sure we will. I am 100% sure we will.
I'll just leave it at that.
Yes.
I'm gonna say for the trial, the first generation, I think is gonna get tired of second generation's crap, and they're gonna side with the third generation.
Okay.
And there's gonna be a shift in power.
Interesting.
Because that's what happens in a lot of books.
I feel like there's gonna be a civil war, and I just leave it at that.
Okay. Civil War amongst the Kandra.
A bunch of antlers.
A bunch of antlers, and
I feel like it's gonna be like the slowest war ever. Just a bunch of like amorphous antler bags,
Bunch of gloobs,
just like just like rolling over each other.
bunch of wet trash bags.
Oh yeah, just a bunch of hefty bags just going at it.
That's your prerogative to hate any character. I'm sorry, but if someone ever hated Sazed, I would literally just kick them off of the podcast. So it's not your prerogative.
Jeez, man, you.
Well, I think you're safe.
Is amazing, and I love Sazed. He's such a kind-hearted person.
Until I got to see redemption. Yeah, look, I got to see.
I see redemption for Sazed. What did with Vin?
TenSoon, he's got a long road to hoe with me. That's all I'm saying. If he wants to get in my good graces,
he feels bad though for what he did. He realized he messed up.
Oh, really? Oh man, that sounds like a really terrible story that I couldn't care less about.
I'm not talking TenSoon. I'm talking Sazed. Are you talking Sazed?
I'm talking about TenSoon.
Oh, I was talking Sazed.
Oh,
okay.
Sazed. No, Sazed. Dude, he gets all my tears. He can like lick up all the salt of the tears that I have cried on his behalf. Sure, no problems there. TenSoon?
Okay.
No.
Yeah. Hey. I get TenSoon hating TenSoon, but Sazed. If anybody ever said that, you said,
"Hey, bag of antlers, you can eat a bag of you know what." Sorry, TenSoon. Bye.
Yeah.
So this whole time he's getting tortured and blah blah. I'm like, you trying to make me have the feelings for him, and I don't. Because I'm like, where's justice for Orsier? That's all I'm trying to say. This guy didn't get a funeral. He didn't get nothing.
There you go. If you hate Sazed, I'll make you walk through a room filled of Legos. Yes, for Sazed.
Anybody who is a parent has already done that and never wants to do that again. Because there is nothing worse than walking into a child's dark bedroom and not knowing they have not finished the construction of a Lego whatever. They're like, I'm making a castle. Sure you are.
I saw something like on YouTube years ago of like a bunch of people's like the ultimate dad challenge, and it was playing soccer with a bowling ball on a court barefoot on a court full of Legos. And I was like, this sounds just painful.
Yeah, but that sounds like unrealistic. Now the Lego, everyone has done the Lego challenge. Any parent has done the Lego challenge.
Accidentally.
Walking into a dark bedroom. And by the way, socks don't help.
No.
Let's just make sure you put that out there. Socks do not help. You walk into a dark bedroom. You like want to go over and like, kiss your little child on the forehead.
Yep.
Love you.
You wake the whole room up as you scream.
You step on that first Lego. You're like, oh, good God. I did not know they made these out of rusty knives because
it's shards of glass.
And of course, every Lego hits every tendon in the bottom of your foot. It's like you just get like the visceral reaction every time, and your foot just curls up like immediately, like oh my, and then you just back out the room. You're like, wait for daylight.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Anyways, so anything else from these chapters before we move on?
No.
Okay. Favorite character?
It's time for Will to go first.
Okay.
Milan.
Really? Interesting. All right.
Okay.
Ratho on that one.
Yeah.
Just...
I'm gonna go, and I know this is gonna be like a controversial take. Ruin, only because I don't know what Ruin is. I'm so intrigued by Ruin. I'm like, oh my god, are you amorphous? Are you a thing? Are you a concept? Are you an entity? Like, I could not stop thinking about Ruin the whole 5 chapters. It's like I was so involved and so, just engulfed in the concept. So yeah, so favorite character doesn't mean I like Ruin or what Ruin does.
More interesting.
But
you're gonna have a dream about Ruin tonight.
No,
I hope it's a good one.
I'm going to St. Lucia tomorrow. I guarantee you, the last thing I'm thinking about is this book.
Well, my favorite's TenSoon, just because apparently there's a lot of hate here, so I'm going to go ahead and throw him a little love.
Oh, there's one person hate. I'm the only person hating, but yeah,
there's a lot of hate from one person.
Oh yes. Oh, I'll bring ultimate hate. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
TenSoon's just trying to be a good boy. He's a doggy. He's a
look,
good
he ain't getting. Look, I'm gonna tell you right now, he ain't getting no birthday cards from me. That's all I'm saying. Birthday card. I don't care. I don't care when your kids graduate out of kindergarten. Don't care. Don't send it to me. Your holiday card. It's disposal.
It was nice to see Demu again.
Yes, Demu, the young faced, by the way, General. Is he a general or where?
Yeah, general.
He was. Yeah, yeah. The young
face. But in the beginning, he was this little scrawny,
little scrappy dude, and now look at him up in the ranks.
Mm-hmm.
I like seeing him come back around, so that was cool. Yeah,
good Demu. Well, next time we'll be doing 4 chapters through the end of part 1. So that's chapter 10, 11, 12, and 13. That ends part 1. So, yeah. We'll do that. And then we'll continue on from there. So how we can be found is at thecosmireads.com. Find links to everything there, including links to our Patreon, links to Discord, links to social media, all that fun stuff. Feel free to write reviews, bash us, love us, all the things that algorithm gods love it. Either way. So do those things. Like this video, subscribe, do all those things as well. We greatly appreciate all of that. Buy merch as well. We do have merchandise. You can find at our merchandise store. Links found on our website. And that's all I really got for this week. So see y'all next time. Thank you for watching the Cosmere Reads.
God stinks, God stay fresh. God stinks, God stay fresh.